Tonight, we travel back into the world's most forgotten history. Close your eyes, relax, and drift into history. Welcome to another quiet journey through the past. Tonight's story begins in a distant forgotten age. Settle in, and let history slowly fade you into sleep. This is boring history for sleep. Relax, and step gently into the ancient world. Tonight, history becomes calm, quiet, and sleepy. Let the past carry you softly into sleep. In tonight's slow and peaceful history story, we wander into the land of ancient Egypt, not during the grand ceremonies of kings, nor during the noise of armies, but during the quiet hours that belong to ordinary people. The night is still. Above the Nile River, countless stars shine softly across the dark sky. Their reflections tremble gently in the slow-moving water. The air is cooler now than it was during the day. A light breeze drifts across the riverbanks and slips through clusters of reeds that sway quietly in the darkness. Most of the day's work has ended. The fields are silent. The workshops are dark. The boats are tied along the shore. Only a few small oil lamps still glow inside mud brick homes scattered across the sleeping landscape. Far away, a dog barks once. Then silence returns. The Nile continues its patient journey through the night. And beside it, thousands of ordinary lives rest beneath simple roofs. Let us move slowly toward one small town resting near the river. Its buildings are made from sun-dried mud bricks. Their walls hold the warmth of the day, though the heat is slowly fading into the coolness of night. Narrow pathways wind between homes. Some paths are smooth from countless footsteps. Others are rough and dusty. Nothing moves quickly here. Nothing needs to. The people who live in this town have spent long hours working beneath the Egyptian sun. Now they sleep. Inside one home, a family rests on woven reed mats spread across the floor. Their room is small. The walls are plain. A few clay jars stand near one corner. A wooden stool sits beside them. Near the doorway, a basket holds grain gathered earlier in the week. The room smells faintly of baked bread, dry earth, and smoke from a cooking fire that burned before sunset. The father sleeps deeply. His hands are rough from labor. The skin across his palms has hardened after years of lifting baskets, digging irrigation channels, and carrying loads beneath the heavy sun. His breathing is slow. Tomorrow will be another long day. Beside him rests his wife. She too worked from sunrise until darkness. Much of her labor happened inside the home, though it was no less demanding. She ground grain. She carried water. She baked bread. She cared for children. She mended clothing. She prepared food. Her body carries its own fatigue. Outside, the stars continue their silent journey overhead. Hours pass gently. The town remains quiet. Eventually, far to the east, something begins to change. The darkness softens. Night slowly loosens its grip upon the land. A faint gray color appears along the horizon. The first signs of morning arrive. No bells ring. No clocks mark the hour. Instead, people wake because generations before them woke at the same time. The rhythms of the Nile guide their lives. The rhythms of sunlight guide their days. Inside the sleeping town, a few figures begin to stir. A farmer opens his eyes. For a moment he lies still. The room is cool. Outside, dawn has not yet fully arrived. He listens. The world remains quiet. Then he rises from his mat. His joints ache slightly from yesterday's labor. This feeling is familiar. Many people in ancient Egypt wake with similar aches. Their lives require constant physical effort. There are few opportunities for true rest. The farmer steps carefully across the room. His feet touch the packed earth floor. Nearby, his wife is already awake. She moves quietly so the children can sleep a little longer. A small fire is prepared. Soon a simple meal begins to take shape. Bread from the previous day. Perhaps a few onions. Maybe some dates if the household has enough. Nothing elaborate. Nothing wasted. Food is precious. Outside, more people begin to wake. A rooster calls from somewhere beyond the town. A donkey shifts its weight near a stable. The sky grows lighter. Shadows retreat from walls and pathways. The Nile reflects bands of silver and pale gold. Morning has arrived. Workers emerge slowly from their homes. Some carry tools. Others carry baskets. A few lead animals toward the fields. The town fills with quiet movement. No one rushes. The day ahead is long. Energy must be conserved. The farmer joins several others walking toward farmland beyond the settlement. Dust rises beneath their sandals. The earth is cool now, though everyone knows it will become much hotter as the sun climbs higher. The men speak occasionally. Their conversations are simple. Water levels. Crop growth. Family matters. The condition of irrigation channels. Life moves through practical concerns. As they walk, the first sunlight reaches the tops of nearby palm trees. Golden light spreads slowly across the landscape. The river glows. Birds rise from the reeds. Another day begins along the Nile. The fields stretch outward beyond the town. Here the lives of countless Egyptians unfold season after season. Some fields hold grain. Others grow vegetables. Every harvest depends upon careful planning and steady labor. The Nile provides life. Without it, this land would be very different. Workers begin their tasks. Some clear weeds. Some repair water channels. Others inspect young plants. The work is repetitive. Steady. Endless. Yet there is comfort in routine. Each person understands what must be done. The rhythm of labor has shaped entire generations. Hours pass. The sun rises higher. Warmth spreads across the fields. The cool air of dawn disappears. Soon sweat gathers across foreheads. Clothing becomes damp. The day grows brighter. And heavier. Back in town, life follows its own patterns. Women prepare food. Children assist with small tasks. Merchants open workshops. Potters arrange their tools. Carpenters inspect unfinished work. Stone workers begin another day shaping materials destined for buildings, tombs, walls, or temples. The sounds of daily life gradually fill the streets. Footsteps. Voices. Animals. Grinding stones. Wood striking wood. Yet even these sounds seem softened beneath the vast Egyptian sky. Nothing feels hurried. Everything unfolds at its own pace. Near the center of town, a baker begins preparing fresh bread. Grain must first be ground into flour. The process requires patience. Large grinding stones turn slowly. Arms grow tired. Dust from flour drifts through the air. Eventually dough is prepared. Small ovens radiate heat. The smell of baking bread spreads through nearby streets. People notice it as they pass. It is a familiar smell. A comforting smell. One that appears almost every day. For many Egyptians, bread forms the center of daily meals. It accompanies work. It accompanies rest. It accompanies nearly every stage of life. As the morning continues, sunlight reflects from pale walls throughout the town. Heat builds steadily. The coolness of dawn becomes a distant memory. Workers wipe sweat from their faces. The baker tends his ovens. The potter shapes clay. The farmer bends over crops beneath the rising sun. Everywhere, people continue their routines. And overhead, the sky remains clear and endless. The hours move gently forward. No one knows exactly how many ordinary days like this have passed before. Thousands perhaps. Generations of workers rising before dawn. Generations of labor beneath the same sun. Generations of evenings spent resting beside the Nile. The lives of kings may fill monuments. But most of ancient Egypt belonged to people like these. People whose names have long been forgotten. People who baked bread, carried water, built homes, worked fields, raised families, and watched the stars appear each night above the river. As the sun climbs higher toward midday, the warmth grows stronger. The dusty roads shimmer softly beneath the light. Workers continue their tasks. And the quiet rhythm of life carries onward through another ancient Egyptian day. The sun continues its slow climb across the Egyptian sky. By midday, the light feels almost solid. It pours across the fields and roads without interruption. Shadows become short and thin. The earth radiates warmth back into the air. Even the mud brick walls of homes seem to hold the brightness of the day upon their surfaces. The farmer pauses for a moment. Not because the work is finished. It rarely is. But because every worker learns to move carefully during the hottest hours. Energy must be protected. Water must be used wisely. The body must endure not only today, but tomorrow, and the many days that will follow. He stands beside a narrow irrigation channel. The water moves quietly through the trench, carrying life toward distant rows of crops. Small ripples catch the sunlight and flash briefly before disappearing. The sight is familiar. He has looked upon water like this nearly every day of his life. The Nile is never far away. Even when it cannot be seen directly, its presence can be felt in every green field, every harvest, every loaf of bread, and every household meal. Nearby, another worker kneels to clear a blockage from a channel. Mud sticks to his hands. The work is slow and repetitive. A basket waits beside him. A simple wooden tool rests nearby. Nothing about the task is remarkable. Yet thousands of such tasks quietly support the life of the entire region. One small channel. One small field. One ordinary worker. Together they become part of something larger. The afternoon begins to settle over the land. Heat shimmers above distant ground. Birds retreat toward patches of shade. Even the breeze seems to move more slowly now. Back in town, the streets remain active, though movement has become gentler beneath the heavy sun. A merchant sits beneath a woven awning stretched across the front of his workshop. The shade offers some relief. Clay jars line the walls behind him. Bundles of goods rest upon shelves. A few customers arrive during the day. There is no hurry. Conversations unfold patiently. People discuss grain, tools, cloth, repairs, and family matters. The merchant listens carefully. Life in the town depends upon relationships built over many years. Many faces are familiar. Many voices have been heard countless times before. Across the street, a scribe works inside a modest room. The air is warm. Light enters through a small opening near the roof. His reed pen moves steadily across a sheet of papyrus. The scratching sound is soft. Almost peaceful. Numbers are recorded. Inventories are updated. Lists are maintained. His work requires concentration rather than physical strength. Yet by afternoon, his shoulders ache as well. Long hours create their own kind of exhaustion. He pauses occasionally to stretch his fingers. Then continues. Outside, footsteps pass along the dusty road. The town breathes quietly around him. In another part of the settlement, a woman returns from a trip to collect water. The jar balanced upon her shoulder is heavy. The path home is familiar. She has walked it many times. The weight presses against tired muscles. Sweat forms across her forehead. Yet she continues steadily forward. At home, children wait beneath the shade of a wall. Their morning tasks are complete. Some help prepare food. Others sort baskets or assist with household chores. Life teaches responsibility early. Every member of the household contributes in some way. The woman sets down the jar carefully. Water is valuable. Not a single drop should be wasted. For a moment she sits quietly near the doorway. A breeze drifts through the room. Outside, the afternoon sun shines across the town. Inside, there is a small pocket of cool shade. The rest feels welcome. Not because it is luxurious. Simply because it offers relief. Across ancient Egypt, countless workers experience similar moments throughout the day. A brief pause beneath a tree. A seat beside a wall. A drink of water. A few minutes without labor. Small comforts become important. As afternoon stretches onward, the river remains calm. Along its banks, fishermen tend their nets. Several boats drift slowly near the shoreline. The water reflects the bright sky above. Wooden hulls creak gently. The sounds are soft and rhythmic. A fisherman inspects a section of netting. A knot requires repair. His fingers move patiently. The work demands care. A damaged net may mean less food for a family. He pulls the fibers tight. Checks the repair. Then continues. Nearby, another fisherman rests in the shade cast by his boat. The heat has become intense. His eyes follow the movement of the river. Small waves lap quietly against the shore. Reeds bend in the breeze. The afternoon feels endless. Yet there is a certain peace within its slowness. Nothing rushes. Nothing races ahead. The river follows its ancient path. The fishermen follow theirs. Farther inland, builders continue their work. A partially completed structure rises from the earth. Workers carry baskets of mud. Others shape bricks. Some smooth surfaces with careful hands. Dust clings to skin and clothing. The smell of earth fills the air. Construction is difficult labor. Every wall requires effort. Every brick represents time. The workers know that progress comes slowly. One layer at a time. One basket at a time. One day at a time. The sun begins its gradual journey downward. The change is almost impossible to notice at first. The brightness remains strong. The heat remains heavy. Yet shadows slowly begin to lengthen. The afternoon moves quietly toward evening. In the fields, farmers continue their tasks. Rows of crops stretch across the landscape. Some workers speak softly while they labor. Others remain silent. Each person settles into a rhythm that feels natural. The scrape of tools. The rustle of leaves. The distant calls of birds. The gentle flow of irrigation water. Together these sounds create the music of an ordinary day. No audience hears it. No record preserves it. Yet for the people living here, these sounds form the background of life itself. As the hours pass, fatigue settles deeper into muscles and joints. The body feels the weight of the day. Arms grow heavy. Legs become sore. Hands ache from constant use. Even simple movements require greater effort. Still, work continues. The crops must be tended. The channels must function. The harvest depends upon persistence. At last, the sun lowers enough to soften the harshest edge of the heat. Relief spreads slowly across the land. A breeze returns. Workers notice it immediately. Faces lift toward the moving air. The change feels gentle. Almost like a quiet reward after many hours beneath the sun. The town begins preparing for evening. Smoke rises from cooking fires. The scent of baking bread drifts once again through narrow streets. Some households prepare stews. Others roast vegetables. Simple meals take shape. Children carry baskets. Parents organize supplies. Animals are guided toward shelter. The pace of life gradually slows. A different rhythm begins to emerge. One that belongs to evening. The farmer starts the journey home. His sandals leave faint marks in the dusty road. Several neighbors walk nearby. The day's labor has left everyone tired. Conversations become quieter. The energy of morning has faded. Now there is only the steady satisfaction of work completed. The fields remain behind them. Ahead waits home. Ahead waits food. Ahead waits rest. The sky changes color slowly. Golden light spreads across the landscape. Palm trees cast long shadows. The Nile glows with soft reflections. The river appears almost dreamlike beneath the lowering sun. Fishermen guide their boats toward shore. Builders set down their tools. Merchants close workshops. The town gradually gathers itself inward. People return to their families. The day begins folding gently into night. Inside homes, evening meals are shared. Voices fill small rooms. Children speak about the events of the day. Parents listen. Food is passed from hand to hand. Clay cups are lifted. The atmosphere is simple, comfortable, familiar. No great events occur. No dramatic changes arrive. Only ordinary people spending another evening together. And perhaps that is what makes the scene so peaceful. Outside, darkness approaches slowly. The last sunlight lingers along the horizon. A few stars begin appearing overhead. One by one. Patiently. Silently. The air cools. The heat of the afternoon gradually releases its hold. People step outside their homes. Some sit near doorways. Others stand beside walls. Many simply enjoy the comfort of cooler air after a long day. The Nile continues its endless journey nearby. Its waters move beneath the first stars of evening. The river has witnessed countless nights like this. Countless families. Countless workers. Countless ordinary lives unfolding beside its banks. And as darkness settles more deeply across the land, the town grows quieter once again. The sounds of labor disappear. The workshops become silent. The roads empty. Oil lamps flicker softly behind windows. A dog wanders through a narrow street. Somewhere in the distance, a donkey shifts within its shelter. Then stillness returns. The stars multiply overhead. The night becomes deeper. The river becomes darker. And ancient Egypt, after another long day of work beneath the sun, slowly prepares itself for sleep. The night settles gently across the town. The last voices fade into the darkness. Oil lamps burn low inside mud brick homes. Their small flames flicker against walls that have witnessed countless evenings much like this one. The shadows move softly. Nothing is hurried. Nothing asks for attention. The Nile flows quietly beyond a sleeping settlement. Its dark waters reflect the stars overhead. Occasionally a faint ripple breaks the surface. A fish rises and disappears again. Reeds sway gently along the riverbank. The cool night breeze passes through them with a soft whisper. Most people are asleep now. The farmer rests upon his woven mat. His hands, rough from years of labor, lie still beside him. The aches in his shoulders have begun to fade. His breathing is deep and steady. Tomorrow will bring more work. The fields will need attention. The irrigation channels will require care. The crops will continue growing beneath the Egyptian sun. But tonight, those concerns remain outside the walls of his home. For now there is only rest. Nearby, his children sleep soundly. One shifts slightly in the darkness. Another curls closer to a blanket woven from simple fibers. The room is quiet except for the gentle sounds of sleeping. The family owns few possessions. A few clay jars. Several baskets. Simple tools. Some folded clothing. A small wooden stool. Yet these familiar objects create a sense of comfort. Everything has its place. Everything serves a purpose. The night continues. Across the town, similar scenes unfold behind hundreds of walls. Families sleeping. Workers recovering from long days. Children dreaming. The elderly resting tired bodies. Servants lying quietly after hours of labor. Merchants recovering from endless conversations and transactions. Potters, bakers, fishermen, scribes, builders, and farmers all surrendering themselves to sleep. The great monuments of Egypt may endure for thousands of years. But at this moment, the true heart of the land rests inside these ordinary homes. The stars move slowly overhead. Hours pass unnoticed. The air grows cooler. Moonlight spreads across rooftops. Narrow streets appear silver beneath its glow. The town feels almost suspended between earth and sky. Even the animals are quiet. Donkeys stand motionless. Goats sleep near simple shelters. Birds remain hidden among trees and reeds. The entire landscape seems to breathe more slowly. Far from the settlement, along another section of the Nile, a fisherman remains awake. His small boat drifts gently upon the water. The river is calm tonight. He sits quietly, listening. The sounds are subtle. Water against wood. A distant bird. The breeze moving through reeds. Nothing more. He has known these sounds his entire life. They are as familiar as his own heartbeat. He watches the stars reflected upon the river's surface. Sometimes it is difficult to tell where the sky ends and the water begins. The darkness connects them. The fisherman feels small beneath such a vast night. Yet he feels peaceful as well. The river has always been there. Before him. Before his parents. Before their parents. Flowing steadily through the generations. Eventually, he guides his boat toward shore. Tomorrow will arrive soon enough. Even now, the first half of the night is already passing. The town sleeps on. Inside one home, an elderly woman lies awake for a little while longer. Age has made sleep lighter. She listens to the quiet sounds around her. The breathing of family members. The distant rustle of wind. The occasional creak of wood settling in the cool air. Her hands rest upon a folded blanket. The skin bears the marks of many decades. Years of grinding grain. Years of carrying water. Years of preparing meals. Years of caring for children. Her life has been shaped by ordinary routines. The same routines that shape countless lives throughout Egypt. Eventually her eyes close. The sounds drift farther away. Sleep finds her once again. The night deepens. The moon continues its journey. Shadows shift across rooftops and pathways. The Nile remains awake, though everything else seems to dream. At last, far beyond the eastern horizon, a subtle change begins. The stars still shine. The darkness still covers the land. Yet somewhere in the distance, morning is already preparing its return. No one notices at first. The change is too small. Too gradual. But it continues. Slowly. Patiently. The world begins moving toward another day. Before dawn fully arrives, many workers experience the coldest part of the night. The heat stored within walls and roads has faded. The air feels surprisingly cool. Some sleepers pull blankets closer. Others shift positions upon their mats. The temperature difference is welcome after the intensity of daytime. For a few precious hours, the land rests beneath gentle coolness. The sky slowly lightens. The stars begin disappearing one by one. Not suddenly, but softly. Their light fades against the growing brightness of approaching dawn. The horizon takes on a pale gray color. The Nile reflects it immediately. The river always notices morning first. Its surface catches every change in light. Every color. Every hint of sunrise. A bird calls from the reeds. Then another. The first sounds of a new day emerge. Inside the town, movement begins once more. A baker wakes before most others. His work starts early. Bread must be ready long before the day becomes hot. He rises quietly. The room remains dark. His family still sleeps. He steps outside. The air feels fresh, cool, comfortable. The sky above him is changing from black to deep blue. He inhales slowly. For a brief moment, the world feels perfectly still. Then he begins his walk. His sandals press softly against the dusty road. The town around him remains mostly asleep. Only a few lights appear in distant windows. Others are waking too. Workers whose days begin before sunrise. People whose routines have remained unchanged for years. Perhaps for generations. The baker reaches his workshop. The familiar smell of grain lingers in the air. Clay ovens wait silently. Tools rest exactly where they were left the previous evening. Soon the day's labor begins again. Flour, water, heat, patience. The ingredients of another ordinary morning. Elsewhere, a woman prepares to grind grain. The task requires effort. The stone tools are heavy. The work is repetitive. Yet she knows every movement by memory. The rhythm is familiar. Stone against stone. Again. And again. And again. The sound joins the awakening town. Soon other households create similar sounds. Grinding grain. Preparing fires. Drawing water. Opening doors. Sweeping floors. A new day spreads across the settlement. The first sunlight appears. Golden light touches the tops of palm trees. Then rooftops. Then walls. Then roads. The entire landscape slowly brightens. The Nile turns from silver to gold. Birds rise into the morning air. The coolness begins fading. Another day is arriving. The farmer wakes once more. His body still feels the labor of yesterday. His hands remain rough. His muscles remain tired. Yet there is work waiting. There is always work waiting. He stands and steps outside. Morning light stretches across the fields beyond the town. The sight is familiar. Comfortingly familiar. Every day begins this way. Every season follows its own rhythm. The Nile rises. The Nile falls. Seeds are planted. Crops are harvested. Children grow older. Families continue. Years pass. And still the river flows. The farmer watches the sunlight spread across the landscape. For a few moments he simply stands there. The air remains cool. The town is waking. Smoke begins rising from cooking fires. Voices emerge from nearby homes. The sounds of life return once more. Soon the roads will fill. The workshops will open. The fields will welcome workers. The boats will move upon the river. Ancient Egypt will continue its endless cycle of labor and rest. But for now, in these quiet moments between night and full morning, everything feels calm. The Nile glides silently through the land. The sky brightens above. The first warmth of day touches the earth. And the people of this ancient world step gently into another ordinary day beneath the sun. The morning unfolds slowly across the Nile Valley. Sunlight spreads farther across the fields with every passing moment. The cool air of dawn still lingers in shaded places, but already the warmth of the coming day can be felt upon the earth. The farmer begins his walk toward the fields once again. His sandals brush softly against the dusty road. Around him, other workers emerge from their homes. Some carry baskets woven from reeds. Others carry simple tools worn smooth by years of use. A few lead donkeys loaded with supplies for the day ahead. The town gradually fills with movement. Nothing feels rushed. The pace remains steady and familiar. People know where they are going. They know what awaits them. The routines of life have become as dependable as the river itself. As the workers leave the settlement behind, the scent of cooking fires drifts through the morning air. Fresh bread bakes inside small ovens. Smoke rises gently above rooftops before disappearing into the brightening sky. A child stands near a doorway watching the workers pass. The child sees fathers, mothers, neighbors, and friends beginning another day of labor. To the child, this scene seems completely ordinary. And it is. This same procession has taken place countless mornings before. It will continue countless mornings after. The road stretches toward the fields. The Nile glimmers nearby. The sun climbs higher. The day continues. Along the riverbank, fishermen prepare their boats. Some inspect ropes. Others examine nets that were repaired during the previous evening. The wooden boats rest quietly against the shore. Their surfaces show signs of years spent upon the water. The fishermen know every mark, every crack, every repaired section. These boats are more than tools. They are companions through long days beneath the sun. One fisherman pushes his vessel into the water. The boat rocks gently. The river welcomes it without resistance. Soon the fisherman drifts away from shore, moving through calm morning reflections. The Nile appears peaceful today. Its surface shines like polished stone beneath the sunlight. The fisherman settles into a familiar rhythm. Paddle. Pause. Paddle. Pause. The movement requires little thought. His body remembers every motion. Years of experience guide him. Nearby, birds skim across the water searching for food. Small ripples spread outward and vanish. The river carries everything forward. At the edge of town, a potter begins his work. His workshop is simple. Mud brick walls provide shade. Clay jars stand drying along one side. The scent of damp earth fills the space. The potter sits beside his wheel. His hands are strong and practiced. A lump of clay rests before him. Slowly, carefully, he begins to shape it. The clay responds beneath his fingers. A jar gradually emerges. The transformation feels almost magical, though it is built entirely upon patience and skill. The potter works quietly. There is no audience. No applause. Only the steady turning of the wheel and the soft pressure of his hands. Outside, sunlight creeps across the doorway. Dust drifts through narrow beams of light. The workshop feels calm. Peaceful. Almost timeless. Not far away, another worker begins repairing baskets. The woven reeds have weakened after long use. Careful hands pull damaged strands free. New fibers are woven into place. The work demands attention. A poorly repaired basket may fail during harvest. So each movement matters. The worker bends over the task. The morning passes quietly around him. Voices drift through nearby streets. Animals move through shaded corners. Children carry water. Merchants open their doors. Life continues in countless small ways. As the sun rises higher, activity increases throughout the town. The market area becomes busier. People arrive carrying goods to exchange. Baskets of vegetables. Clay vessels. Bundles of cloth. Fish brought from the river. The atmosphere remains calm. Transactions occur slowly. People speak face to face. Many know one another well. Families have lived here for years. Some for generations. Names and stories travel easily through such communities. A merchant greets a familiar customer. Their conversation begins with questions about family before turning toward business. How are the children? Has the harvest been good? Did the illness pass? Such conversations are as important as the exchange itself. Relationships help bind the community together. The market becomes a place not only of trade but of connection. The morning advances. Heat slowly strengthens. Shadows begin shrinking beneath walls and trees. The comfort of dawn gradually fades. Workers notice the change. Sweat appears along brows. Clothing becomes damp. The sun reminds everyone of its growing presence. In the fields, labor continues steadily. Farmers move among rows of crops. Some inspect irrigation channels. Others pull unwanted plants from the soil. The work is repetitive. Hour after hour. Day after day. Season after season. Yet repetition brings a certain rhythm. A kind of quiet understanding between workers and the land. The soil must be cared for. The water must be guided. The crops must be protected. These truths remain constant. One farmer kneels beside a channel carrying water from the Nile. He watches the flow carefully. The water moves through the trench with gentle determination. Its journey seems effortless. Yet without it, the fields would struggle. The farmer adjusts a small barrier made from packed earth. The water changes direction slightly. Soon it reaches another section of crops. A simple task. Yet an important one. The life of the field depends upon many such small decisions. The morning edges toward midday. The sky remains clear. Only a few distant clouds appear near the horizon. The brightness becomes intense. The earth absorbs heat. Stone walls grow warm beneath the sunlight. The roads become dusty and dry. Even the air seems heavier now. A woman carrying water pauses beneath the shade of a palm tree. The jar upon her shoulder is heavy. The brief rest feels welcome. She listens to the sounds around her. Birds calling from nearby branches. Voices drifting from distant homes. The rustle of leaves overhead. For a moment she simply stands still. The shade offers comfort. Then she continues her journey. Across the town, countless similar moments unfold. People pausing briefly. Adjusting burdens. Stretching tired muscles. Taking a drink of water. Life moves forward through small acts of endurance. The baker wipes flour from his hands. The potter examines drying vessels. The fisherman checks his nets. The farmer studies the crops. Everywhere, ordinary work continues. No great events disturb the rhythm of the day. No dramatic changes arrive. Only the steady flow of labor that sustains life along the Nile. As midday approaches, the brightness reaches its peak. The sun hangs high above the landscape. Its light falls directly upon roads, rooftops, and fields. Shade becomes precious. Workers seek it whenever possible. Animals gather beneath trees. Birds retreat into cooler places. The entire land seems to slow slightly beneath the weight of the heat. The river alone appears unchanged. The Nile continues moving calmly through the valley. Its waters shimmer beneath the sunlight. Boats drift across its surface. Reeds sway gently along its edges. The river remains patient. Untroubled. Steady as ever. A fisherman pauses to drink water from a clay vessel. He sits within the shade cast by his boat. The relief is immediate. For a few moments he does nothing else. No rowing. No repairs. No work. Only rest. The silence feels pleasant. The gentle rocking of the boat feels soothing. The fisherman gazes across the water. The far bank appears hazy in the heat. Palm trees stand motionless beneath the bright sky. Everything seems wrapped in sunlight. Eventually he rises once more. The day is far from over. There is still work to do. There is always work to do. Back in the town, children help prepare the midday meal. Simple foods are arranged carefully. Bread. Vegetables. Dates. Perhaps fish if the family has been fortunate. Nothing extravagant. Nothing wasted. The meal provides energy for the remaining hours ahead. Families gather briefly when they can. Conversation remains quiet. The heat encourages calm. People conserve their strength. Outside, the sun continues shining upon ancient Egypt. The roads remain dusty. The workshops remain busy. The fields remain alive with labor. And the Nile continues flowing past them all, carrying its cool waters through the heart of the land as another long day slowly moves toward afternoon. The afternoon arrives quietly. The sun remains high, though it has begun the long and gradual journey toward the western horizon. The change is so slight that few people notice it at first. The heat still rests heavily upon the land. Dust still hangs in the air above the roads. The fields still shimmer beneath the bright light. Yet the day is slowly moving forward. The Nile continues its steady flow beside the town. Its waters seem untouched by the concerns of human life. Year after year, century after century, the river follows the same ancient path. It nourishes fields, fills channels, supports fishermen, and carries small boats from one settlement to another. Today is no different. A merchant stands beneath the shade of a woven canopy stretched across the front of his workshop. The shade creates a small island of comfort amid the afternoon heat. He sits upon a simple stool. Nearby, baskets filled with goods wait patiently for customers. A clay jar of water stands beside him. From time to time he takes a drink. The cool water eases the dryness caused by the hot air. Few people are eager to move quickly during these hours. The streets remain active, but their pace has softened. Even conversations seem quieter. The afternoon encourages patience. Across the town, the potter continues his work. Several newly formed vessels stand drying along a wall. The sunlight reaches them through the doorway. Their surfaces glow softly. The potter studies each one carefully. A slight imperfection catches his attention. He smooths it with practiced fingers. Years of experience have taught him what to look for. Small details matter. A well-made jar may serve a family for many years. A poorly made one may crack too soon. The potter works slowly. His movements are calm. There is no need for haste. Outside, a donkey passes along the road. Its hooves stir small clouds of dust. The sound fades gradually into the distance. The workshop becomes quiet once again. Farther away, near the riverbank, a group of women wash clothing beside the Nile. The water laps gently against the shore. Sunlight dances across the surface. The women kneel near the edge, working carefully. Their hands move through the familiar motions of rinsing, wringing, and folding. The task requires time. Like so many activities in this ancient world, it cannot be rushed. The river provides what is needed. Clean water. Coolness. A place where daily chores become slightly more comfortable beneath the open sky. Nearby, children play along the edge of the reeds. Their laughter drifts softly across the water. For a little while, they are free from responsibilities. The afternoon feels long to them. Endless. Filled with possibilities. They chase one another through patches of shade. They toss small stones into the river. They watch birds lift into the sky. Soon enough they will have beauties of their own. But for now, they remain children beneath the Egyptian sun. The fishermen continue their work farther along the river. Nets are lowered and raised. Boats drift slowly upon the current. The movement of water creates a gentle rhythm. Some fishermen speak quietly with one another. Others remain silent. Each watches the river carefully. The Nile rewards patience. A sudden movement beneath the surface. A shift in the net. A flash of silver in the water. The river offers small gifts throughout the day. The afternoon stretches onward. In the fields, farmers continue tending their crops despite growing fatigue. The hours have been long. Their bodies feel it. Sweat darkens their clothing. Muscles ache from repeated motions. Hands grow sore from tools and rough surfaces. Yet the work continues. A field cannot be neglected. The crops depend upon attention. The farmer from earlier pauses beside a cluster of young plants. He crouches near the soil. The earth feels warm beneath his fingers. He studies the leaves carefully. Everything appears healthy. The sight brings quiet satisfaction. Not excitement. Not celebration. Simply a sense that today's effort has meaning. The farmer rises once more. The work continues. Above him, a hawk circles slowly through the bright sky. The bird moves effortlessly upon invisible currents of air. Below, the farmers remain bound to the earth. Their labor is constant. Their responsibilities unending. Yet they understand the value of their work. The harvest months may still be distant. But every day contributes to that future. Every hour matters. The afternoon light begins changing almost imperceptibly. The harsh brightness softens. Shadows grow a little longer. The sun still dominates the sky, but its intensity has begun to ease. Workers notice the difference. A small breeze moves across the fields. The relief feels welcome. The farmer closes his eyes for a moment. The moving air cools the sweat upon his skin. Then he returns to his task. Back in the town, food preparation begins once again. Cooking fires are arranged. Clay ovens are inspected. Ingredients are gathered. Evening may still be several hours away, but meals require planning. A woman kneels beside a grinding stone. The repetitive motion has occupied much of her life. Stone against grain. Grain into flour. Flour into bread. The cycle repeats day after day. The sound is familiar. Steady. Comforting in its predictability. Nearby, another woman prepares vegetables for the evening meal. A child helps carry supplies. Simple household tasks fill the afternoon. Though less visible than field work, they require just as much dedication. Homes do not care for themselves. Meals do not prepare themselves. Water does not carry itself from the river. Every comfort requires labor. Every ordinary moment rests upon countless small efforts. As the afternoon slowly matures, the town settles into a quieter rhythm. The busiest hours have passed. People continue working, but the pace feels more measured now. The promise of evening rests somewhere ahead. Not yet close enough to reach, but close enough to imagine. A scribe sits inside a shaded room. His records spread before him. Papyrus sheets lie neatly arranged. His reed pen moves across the surface with soft scratching sounds. The work demands concentration. Numbers. Inventories. Names. Quantities. The details of daily life preserved through careful writing. The room is cooler than the streets outside. A narrow opening allows a gentle breeze to enter. Dust floats through beams of sunlight. The scribe pauses briefly. He flexes his fingers. Then continues. The records must be completed. Outside, the town carries on. Merchants speak with customers. Builders shape bricks. Potters turn wheels. Farmers tend crops. Fishermen work the river. Everywhere, ordinary life unfolds. The afternoon gradually leans toward evening. The sky begins showing hints of softer colors. The fierce white brightness of midday slowly gives way to warmer tones. The change spreads gently across the landscape. Palm trees cast longer shadows. Mud brick walls glow softly beneath the lowering sun. The Nile reflects gold where moments earlier it reflected silver. The air becomes more comfortable. People feel their spirits lift slightly. The hardest heat has passed. A sense of relief moves quietly through the town. Workers continue their tasks, but many now glance occasionally toward the west. The end of the workday approaches. Not immediately. Not yet. But steadily. Always steadily. The farmer wipes dust from his forehead. His field stretches before him. The rows appear calm beneath the afternoon light. The irrigation channels continue carrying water. Everything seems in order. For now, that is enough. He straightens slowly. His back aches. His legs feel heavy. Yet there is satisfaction in knowing that another day's work has been completed well. The evening breeze strengthens slightly. Reeds along the river sway together. Birds begin returning toward nesting places. The atmosphere changes. The land itself seems to exhale after enduring the long heat of day. The Nile glows beneath the lowering sun. The boats upon its surface appear darker now against the golden reflections. Fishermen prepare to return home. Merchants begin organizing goods. Builders set aside tools. The transition is gradual. Nothing ends suddenly. The day simply softens. The afternoon slowly yields to evening. And across the ancient landscape, thousands of ordinary people continue their familiar routines, guided by the same rhythms that have shaped life beside the Nile for generations beyond memory. The afternoon slowly melts into evening. The change comes so gently that it is difficult to notice the exact moment when one becomes the other. The bright heat of the day loosens its grip upon the land. Shadows stretch farther across the roads. The light softens upon the walls of homes and workshops. A breeze moves across the Nile. It is cooler now. Not cold. Just enough to feel refreshing after many hours beneath the sun. The reeds along the riverbank sway together in slow waves. Their soft rustling joins the quiet sounds of water moving past the shore. The fishermen begin turning their boats toward home. One by one, small vessels glide across the river's golden surface. The lowering sun paints everything in warm colors. The water reflects orange, gold, and pale red. The river seems almost sleepy itself. A fisherman sits quietly at the stern of his boat. The day's work has left him tired. His shoulders ache from rowing. His hands feel rough from handling nets. Yet there is comfort in this familiar fatigue. It is the feeling of a day fully lived. The boat drifts toward shore. Behind him, the river continues flowing south to north, as it has done for countless generations. Ahead, the town waits. Smoke rises from cooking fires. Voices drift softly through the evening air. Home is near. Along the roads leading back from the fields, farmers begin their return as well. Groups of workers walk together through the fading light. Some carry tools over their shoulders. Others guide donkeys laden with baskets and supplies. The conversations are quiet. People speak less now than they did in the morning. The long day has taken much of their energy. Most are content simply to walk. Dust rises beneath their sandals. The road glows softly beneath the evening sun. Palm trees cast long shadows across the landscape. Everything seems calmer now. The farmer from earlier walks beside two neighbors. Their fields lie behind them. Tomorrow those fields will need attention again. Tomorrow the work will continue. But tonight belongs to rest. That thought alone feels pleasant. The three men walk in comfortable silence. The town slowly grows larger ahead of them. As they approach, the smells of evening become stronger. Fresh bread. Cooking vegetables. Wood smoke. Warm clay ovens. The scents drip through the air and greet the returning workers before they even reach their homes. Many families are already preparing meals. Inside one mud brick house, a woman kneels beside a small oven. The day's final batch of bread is nearly ready. The heat from the oven fills the room. Outside, the air is becoming cooler, but here the warmth remains. She carefully removes a loaf and sets it aside. The smell fills the space. Nearby, children help arrange simple bowls and cups. The room is modest. The furnishings are few. Yet there is a feeling of comfort here. Everything needed for the evening is present. The family will soon gather. Food will be shared. Stories will be exchanged. Another ordinary night will begin. Elsewhere in the town, a potter finishes his work for the day. Several completed vessels stand in neat rows. He studies them briefly. The fading sunlight enters through the workshop doorway and falls across the clay surfaces. The jars cast long shadows. The potter feels tired. His back aches from hours spent sitting and working. Clay dust clings to his hands. Yet there is satisfaction in seeing the results of his labor. Tomorrow he will begin again. New clay. New vessels. The endless rhythm continues. For now, he closes the workshop and steps outside. The evening air feels pleasant against his skin. He pauses for a moment. The sky above is changing color. The first hints of twilight appear. Nearby, a donkey brays softly. Children run through a narrow street. A dog wanders between houses. The town feels alive in a different way now. The urgency of work has faded. The slower pace of evening has arrived. Near the center of the settlement, merchants begin closing their shops. Goods are carefully stored away. Shelves are organized. Doors are secured. The day's business is ending. A merchant lifts a clay jar and places it beside several others. The task is simple. Routine. Yet even these final movements carry a sense of completion. The day is winding down. Soon he too will return home. The market gradually empties. The sounds become quieter. A few late conversations continue beneath the warm glow of the setting sun. Then those voices fade as well. Across the Nile Valley, countless settlements experience the same transition. Fields becoming quiet. Boats returning to shore. Workshops closing. Families gathering. The evening unfolds gently everywhere. The sun continues lowering. Its light becomes softer with every passing moment. Golden colors spread across the river. The reflections seem to stretch endlessly across the water. Flocks of birds cross the sky. They move toward nesting places among the reeds and trees. Their dark shapes drift across the glowing horizon. The sight is peaceful. One fisherman pauses beside the shore and watches them. He has seen this scene thousands of times. Yet it never feels entirely ordinary. The birds. The river. The evening light. Together they create a quiet beauty that asks for nothing. Simply to be noticed. As twilight deepens, families gather for their evening meals. Inside homes throughout the town, people sit together after long hours of labor. Bread is shared. Vegetables are passed from hand to hand. Fish from the river may appear on some tables. Dates and other simple foods complete the meal. The conversations remain gentle. Children describe small events from their day. Parents listen. Neighbors exchange news. Nothing dramatic. Nothing extraordinary. Just the ordinary details of daily life. And perhaps those details matter most. They are the threads that hold families together. The moments that repeat year after year. The memories that become the texture of life itself. Outside, darkness begins to gather. The western sky still holds traces of gold and red. But overhead, deeper shades of blue are appearing. The first stars wait patiently beyond the fading daylight. Soon they will emerge. The air cools further. People step outside after their meals. Some sit near doorways. Others rest against walls, still holding a little warmth from the sun. The evening breeze drifts through the streets. It carries the scent of the river. The scent of earth. The scent of distant cooking fires slowly dying down. The farmer sits outside his home. His meal is finished. The workday is over. For a little while, he simply watches the sky. The first star appears. Then another. Then many more. The familiar patterns spread across the darkness above. His father once looked at these same stars. And his grandfather before that. Generations have ended their days beneath this sky. The thought feels comforting. The stars seem permanent. Steady. reliable. Like the Nile. Like the turning seasons. Like the rhythms of daily life. Around him, the town grows quieter. Children become sleepy. Conversation slow. People begin retreating indoors. Oil lamps flicker to life behind small windows. Their glow shines softly against mud brick walls. The streets grow still. The day's final sounds gradually fade. A donkey shifts in its shelter. A distant voice calls once. The river continues moving through the darkness. Then silence settles more deeply over the town. The stars brighten overhead. The moon begins rising beyond the horizon. Its pale light touches the Nile and creates a silver path across the water. The fishermen are home. The farmers are resting. The bakers, potters, merchants, and builders have ended their work. The entire settlement seems to breathe more slowly. Night has arrived once again beside the Nile. An ancient Egypt, wrapped in starlight and gentle silence, prepares itself for another long, peaceful sleep. Night settles fully across the Nile Valley. The last traces of sunset have disappeared beyond the western horizon. Darkness now covers the fields, the roads, the workshops, and the quiet riverbanks. Above, the stars shine with remarkable clarity. Without the brightness of modern lights, the sky feels immense. Countless stars stretch from one side of the heavens to the other. Their reflections shimmer upon the dark waters of the Nile. The river carries those reflections gently downstream, breaking them into small fragments whenever the current shifts. The town rests beneath this vast canopy of light. Most homes have grown quiet. Oil lamps burn softly inside a few rooms, but many families have already drifted into sleep. The day's labor has left little room for staying awake late into the night. People rise early. People work hard. People sleep deeply. Such is the rhythm of life here. Inside one modest home, the farmer lies awake for a short while. Not because he is troubled. Simply because the body sometimes needs a little time to settle after a long day. The room is cool compared to the afternoon heat. A faint breeze slips through a small opening in the wall. It carries the scent of earth and river water. The farmer listens quietly. The breathing of his family. The distant murmur of the Nile. The occasional rustle of reeds outside. These sounds have accompanied nearly every night of his life. They feel familiar. Comforting. Soon his eyes grow heavy. The sounds blur together. Sleep arrives gently. Outside, the town becomes even quieter. A dog wanders through a narrow lane. Its footsteps are soft against the packed earth. It pauses briefly near a doorway. Then continues into the darkness. The streets belong mostly to shadows now. The busy movement of the day feels very far away. The market stands empty. The workshops are silent. The ovens have cooled. The tools have been set aside. Everything waits for morning. Along the riverbank, moonlight spreads across the water. The moon has climbed higher into the sky now. Its reflection stretches across the Nile like a long silver ribbon. Reeds cast delicate shadows upon the shore. A small boat rocks gently against its mooring rope. The movement is barely noticeable. Just enough to create a quiet creaking sound. The river remains awake. It never truly sleeps. Day and night, season after season, it continues flowing through Egypt. For the people who live beside it, the Nile is more than water. It is a constant companion. A source of food. A source of life. A presence woven into every ordinary day. Tonight, as on countless nights before, it moves silently beneath the stars. Hours pass. The moon continues its journey overhead. Inside homes throughout the town, sleeping families shift occasionally upon woven mats. A child turns over in sleep. An elderly man adjusts a blanket. A woman pulls her arm beneath her head. Small movements. Quiet movements. The movements of people at rest. The night air remains cool. The mud brick walls slowly release the warmth they absorbed during the day. The temperature feels pleasant now. Many people sleep more comfortably during these hours than at any other time. The heavy heat of afternoon seems distant, forgotten for a little while. The stars wheel slowly across the sky. No clocks mark the passing hours. No bells announce the night. Instead, time reveals itself through subtler changes. The movement of constellations. The position of the moon. The gradual cooling of the air. The habits of birds and animals. The people of ancient Egypt know these signs well. Generations have watched the sky. Generations have learned its rhythms. Long before written records, the heavens offered guidance. And so the night continues. Peaceful. Unhurried. Steady. Far from the town, a watchman sits near a storage building. His responsibilities require him to remain awake a little longer than most. A small oil lamp burns beside him. Its flame dances gently whenever the breeze stirs. The watchman leans against a wall. The quiet surrounds him. He listens to the night sounds. A distant owl. The whisper of reeds. The river moving through darkness. There is little to do. Mostly he watches. Mostly he waits. The stillness becomes almost meditative. The lamp's glow creates a small circle of light around him. Beyond it, shadows stretch into the darkness. The watchman yawns. The night feels long, yet peaceful. Eventually another watchman arrives to replace him. A few quiet words are exchanged. Then the first man returns home. Even the guardians of the night require rest. The moon begins its slow descent. The deepest hours of darkness approach. These are the quietest moments of all. The town seems suspended in complete stillness. Very few voices remain. Very few lights remain. Only the stars and the river continue their silent conversation. The Nile glides past sleeping homes. Past sleeping fields. Past sleeping boats. Its waters touch places that most of the town will never see. Yet every person depends upon it. The river connects them all. As the night advances, the first hints of change begin far beyond the eastern horizon. Nothing visible yet. Nothing obvious. But morning is already on its way. The world is turning toward another dawn. The stars continue shining. Yet some now appear slightly dimmer. The darkness is no longer deepening. Instead, very slowly, it begins retreating. A cool breeze crosses the fields. The crops sway gently. The irrigation channels lie quiet beneath the moonlight. The roads appear pale and empty. Everywhere, there is rest. The farmer sleeps soundly. His muscles recover from yesterday's labor. His hands remain still. Tomorrow they will lift tools once more. Tomorrow they will guide water, pull weeds, and tend crops. But not yet. For now, sleep holds him. The same is true throughout the settlement. The baker sleeps. The potter sleeps. The fisherman sleeps. The merchant sleeps. The scribe sleeps. The builders sleep. The women who carried water. The children who played beside the reeds. The elders who shared stories after supper. All rest beneath the same sky. All share the same night. Gradually, almost imperceptibly, the eastern horizon begins to lighten. A faint gray line appears. Then a touch of pale blue. The stars nearest the horizon begin disappearing. One by one. Quietly. No announcement marks their departure. They simply fade into the growing light. The Nile notices first. Its dark surface begins reflecting new colors. Silver replaces black. Soft gray replaces silver. The transformation unfolds gently. Birds stir within the reeds. A single call breaks the silence. Then another. The sounds are small. But they signal change. Morning is approaching. Inside the town, a few early risers begin shifting in their sleep. The baker, as always, will wake first. The river fishermen will not be far behind. The women who prepare morning meals will soon rise as well. Another day waits beyond the horizon. Another day of labor. Another day of routine. Another day woven into the endless fabric of life beside the Nile. For now, however, dawn remains incomplete. The town lingers in that peaceful space between night and morning. The stars are fading. The river is brightening. The air remains cool. Everything feels calm. Everything feels quiet. And ancient Egypt rests gently beneath the final moments of the night, waiting for the first golden light of a brand new day. Continue. The first light of dawn spreads slowly across the eastern horizon. It begins as a pale glow, barely noticeable at first. The stars nearest the horizon fade quietly into the growing brightness. Above them, the deeper stars remain visible for a little while longer, shining softly in the cool morning air. The Nile reflects every change. Its surface shifts from dark gray to silver. Gentle ripples carry the new colors downstream. The river seems to awaken before the town itself. A thin mist hangs above portions of the water. It drifts slowly across the surface, moving with the early breeze. The sight is peaceful. The river appears wrapped in a soft veil as the world prepares for another day. Birds begin calling from the reeds. One voice. Then another. Soon many small sounds emerge from the riverbank. The silence of night gradually gives way to the quiet music of morning. Inside the town, the baker opens his eyes. For a few moments he remains still. The room is dim. The rest of the household continues sleeping. Outside, dawn has not yet fully arrived. The air feels cool against his skin. He listens. The distant birds. The faint sound of water. The soft breathing of his family. Everything feels calm. Then he rises. His feet touch the packed earth floor. The day begins. He steps outside into the fading darkness. The sky overhead holds shades of blue and gray. The morning star still shines brightly above the horizon. The streets are mostly empty. Only a few other early workers move through the settlement. Their footsteps sound soft against the road. The baker walks toward his workshop. His route never changes. He knows every turn, every doorway, every wall. Years of repetition have carved the path into memory. The town feels different at this hour. The noise of daytime has not yet arrived. The market is silent. The workshops are dark. The roads belong to the dawn. A gentle breeze carries the scent of the river. The scent of damp earth. The scent of cooling ashes from last night's fires. The baker reaches his workshop. Inside, everything waits exactly where it was left the evening before. The grinding stones. The clay bowls. The ovens. The baskets. The familiar sight brings quiet comfort. There is satisfaction in beginning each day with known tasks. The baker gathers supplies. Soon the work begins. Grain must become flour. Flour must become dough. Dough must become bread. The cycle continues. Elsewhere, a woman wakes and prepares to fetch water. The clay jar waits near the doorway. She lifts it carefully. The vessel is empty now. Before long, it will be full. Water is needed for cooking, for drinking, for cleaning, for countless tasks throughout the day. She steps outside. The sky grows brighter with every passing moment. Several neighbors are already awake. A few exchange quiet greetings. Their voices remain low. The morning still feels fragile, as though loud sounds might disturb its peace. The woman follows the path toward the river. The road winds gently through the settlement. Mud brick walls glow faintly in the early light. Palm trees stand motionless against the brightening sky. The Nile waits beyond them. As she approaches the riverbank, the first edge of the sun appears above the horizon. A narrow band of gold emerges from the earth itself. The light spreads rapidly across the water. The mist begins to fade. The surface of the Nile glitters. For a moment, everything seems to shine. The woman pauses briefly. Many mornings have begun this way. Yet the sight never loses its beauty. The river. The sunrise. The quiet beginning of another day. Soon she kneels beside the water. The jar fills slowly. Cool water swirls inside the clay vessel. The sound is gentle. The task is ordinary. Yet it connects her to a routine practiced by generations before her. Thousands upon thousands of mornings. Thousands upon thousands of journeys to the river. The Nile has watched them all. Back in the town, more people begin waking. Doors open. Voices emerge. Cooking fires are prepared. The settlement gradually comes alive. The farmer opens his eyes. For a moment he remains lying upon his mat. His muscles feel stiff from yesterday's labor. His shoulders ache slightly. His hands still bear traces of work despite washing. The sensation is familiar. Almost expected. He stretches slowly. The room is cool. Outside, morning waits. The farmer stands. Today will bring more tasks. The crops need attention. The irrigation channels require inspection. The fields never rest for long. Yet there is no feeling of dread. This is simply life. The work has always been there. It has shaped every season. Every year. Every generation. He steps outside. The fresh air greets him immediately. Birds move through the trees. The sky has become a clear pale blue. Sunlight touches the tops of distant palms. The day feels full of possibility. Not because something unusual will happen, but because another ordinary day has begun. And ordinary days form the foundation of life. Nearby, children begin waking as well. Some rub sleep from their eyes. Others stretch and yawn. Soon they will help with household chores. Water must be carried. Floors swept. Animals tended. Tasks await everyone. Even the youngest members of the community contribute in small ways. The settlement becomes busier. Smoke rises from fresh cooking fires. The scent of baking bread drifts through the streets. The smell is warm and comforting. It mixes with the scent of earth and river water. Together they create the fragrance of morning in ancient Egypt. Along the riverbank, fishermen prepare their boats once more. The river shines brightly beneath the rising sun. The coolness of dawn remains, though not for long. Soon the heat will return. The fishermen know this. They move steadily through familiar preparations. Ropes are checked. Nets are examined. Supplies are arranged. The work follows patterns established long ago. The same motions. The same sequence. The same dependable rhythm. One fisherman pushes his boat away from shore. The vessel glides smoothly into deeper water. The current catches it gently. The day begins upon the river. In the fields beyond the settlement, workers gradually arrive. The crops glow softly beneath the morning light. Tiny drops of moisture still cling to some leaves. The sight will not last long. The sun is already climbing higher. The farmer reaches his field. He pauses for a moment. The irrigation channels appear healthy. Water continues moving steadily. The young plants look strong. The morning air remains pleasant. The hardest hours are still ahead. For now, there is peace. He kneels beside the soil. His fingers touch the earth. Warmth has not yet returned. The ground still remembers the coolness of night. The farmer studies the field. Everything seems in order. That is enough. The day can begin. Around him, other workers spread across neighboring fields. Their figures move slowly through the morning light. Tools catch flashes of sunlight. Voices drift across the open land. The sounds remain soft. The world is still waking. Above them, the sun climbs steadily. The shadows shorten little by little. The cool morning will eventually surrender to heat. The quiet dawn will eventually become a busy day. The roads will fill. The workshops will open. The market will awaken. The river will carry boats in every direction. But for now, the morning remains young. The Nile flows peacefully beside the settlement. The birds sing from the reeds. Fresh bread bakes in clay ovens. Workers begin their daily routines. And ancient Egypt steps gently into another beautiful, ordinary day beneath the growing light of the sun. The morning continues to unfold across the Nile Valley. The sun climbs a little higher into the sky. Its light spreads over the fields, the river, and the mud brick homes of the town. The coolness of dawn remains in pockets of shade, but already the first hints of warmth can be felt upon the roads and walls. The day is fully awake now. Throughout the settlement, ordinary life moves forward with quiet purpose. The bakers' ovens glow warmly. The scent of fresh bread drifts through the streets. Children carry baskets from one house to another. Merchants arrange goods upon shelves and tables. Farmers work among the growing crops beyond the town. Each person follows familiar routines. Each task fits into the larger rhythm of the day. The Nile watches over it all. Its waters move calmly beneath the brightening sky. Near the riverbank, several women return home carrying jars filled with water. The vessels are heavy. The path is dusty. Yet the journey has become second nature through years of repetition. The jars rest against shoulders and hips. The women walk carefully. Water is precious. Every drop matters. As they move through the town, neighbors exchange quiet greetings. A few stop briefly to share small pieces of news. Nothing urgent. Nothing dramatic. Simple conversations about family, crops, weather, and daily concerns. These exchanges are woven into the fabric of life. The town is large enough to be busy, yet small enough that many faces are familiar. The same people pass one another day after day. Season after season. Year after year. Along one narrow street, an elderly man sits outside his home. The morning sunlight warms the wall beside him. His hands rest upon his knees. He no longer works as he once did. Age has slowed him. His body carries the weight of many decades. Yet he remains a part of the life around him. Children wave as they pass. Neighbors pause to speak. The old man watches the town awaken completely. He has seen thousands of mornings. Thousands of sunrises above the Nile. Thousands of ordinary days beginning exactly like this one. The sight still brings him quiet comfort. Nearby, a young boy helps his mother prepare grain. The grinding stone is heavy. His arms tire quickly. The work is difficult. Yet he continues. The task teaches patience, strength, responsibility. The stone moves slowly. The grain becomes flour. Dust rises into the air. The rhythm repeats. Again and again. The sound joins the many other sounds of the morning. Grinding. Footsteps. Voices. Animals. The soft crackle of cooking fires. Together they create the gentle heartbeat of the town. Far beyond the houses, the farmer works steadily beneath the growing sun. The field stretches before him. Rows of crops sway lightly in the breeze. The irrigation channels carry water through the soil. The system requires constant attention. A small blockage. A broken embankment. A neglected section of channel. Any of these can create problems later. The farmer walks slowly beside the water. He studies its movement. The current appears healthy. Everything is flowing as it should. This simple observation brings reassurance. Many aspects of life remain uncertain. But today, At least for now, the water is moving where it needs to go. Nearby, another farmer uses a wooden tool to strengthen the edge of a channel. The work is repetitive. His movements are measured and careful. The sun reflects from the water beside him. Birds move through the reeds at the edge of the field. The morning feels calm, productive, peaceful. The hours pass gently. The sun continues its steady climb. Shadows shorten across the land. The brightness increases. The air grows warmer. Workers notice the change. A thin layer of sweat forms upon skin. The cool relief of dawn slowly fades. The day is entering a new stage. Back in town, the market grows busier. Merchants greet arriving customers. Goods change hands. Clay jars. Bundles of vegetables. Fresh fish from the river. Woven baskets. Simple cloth. The transactions unfold without hurry. People take their time. Conversations accompany nearly every exchange. Relationships matter as much as the goods themselves. A merchant leans comfortably against a doorway while speaking with a customer. Their discussion drifts between practical matters and personal ones. How is the harvest progressing? Has the river level changed? How are the children? Questions like these fill the spaces between business. The market becomes not only a place of trade but a place of connection. The morning advances. The sunlight grows stronger. The dusty roads brighten beneath its glare. Donkeys carry supplies through the streets. Their steady footsteps create small clouds of dust that linger briefly before settling back to the ground. Builders continue working at the edge of the settlement. A new structure slowly rises from the earth. The process is laborious. Mud bricks must be shaped, carried, stacked, aligned. Each wall grows only a little each day. Progress arrives slowly. Yet over time, slow progress becomes visible progress. The builders understand this well. They focus upon the task before them. One brick, then another, and another. The rhythm is familiar. Nearby, a laborer pauses briefly beneath a shaded wall. He drinks from a clay cup. The water feels cool against his throat. For a few moments he enjoys the rest. Then he returns to work. The day continues. Along the Nile, fishermen move farther from shore. The river sparkles beneath the sunlight. Small waves lap gently against wooden boats. The sounds are soft and soothing. One fisherman lowers a net into the water. His movements are practiced. He has repeated this action thousands of times. The net disappears beneath the surface. The fisherman waits patiently. Patience is part of the river. Patience is part of life. Many things cannot be rushed. Fish arrive when they arrive. Crops grow when they grow. Bread bakes in its own time. The Nile teaches this lesson every day. As the morning nears its later hours, the heat becomes more noticeable. Workers adjust their pace. The air feels heavier. The sun shines directly upon the fields, the roads, the rooftops, the river itself. The brightness seems endless. Even so, life continues without complaint. People adapt. They have always adapted. Generations before them faced the same heat, the same sunlight, the same demanding days. The farmer wipes sweat from his brow. His field remains healthy. The crops appear strong. The sight brings quiet satisfaction. Not every day provides visible rewards. Yet moments like this remind him why the work matters. A healthy field means food. Food means security. Security means another season of life beside the river. The hours move onward. The sky remains clear and wide. The Nile continues flowing through the heart of the land. The town hums softly with activity. Workshops remain busy. Fields remain productive. Boats continue drifting across the water. Everywhere, ordinary people carry out ordinary tasks. Tasks that may never be recorded. Tasks that may never be remembered beyond their own lifetimes. Yet these small efforts sustain an entire civilization. The baker shaping dough. The woman carrying water. The child helping grind grain. The fisherman mending a net. The merchant opening his shop. The builder lifting bricks. The farmer guiding water through a field. Together they form the true life of ancient Egypt. As the sun climbs higher and the warmth deepens across the valley, another long day beside the Nile continues its steady and peaceful journey forward. The morning slowly approaches midday. The sun rises higher above the Nile Valley, and its light becomes stronger with each passing hour. The shadows that once stretched across the fields during dawn have now retreated beneath walls, trees, and the feet of workers. The air feels warmer. The earth absorbs the sunlight. The roads grow brighter. Across the landscape, ordinary life continues without interruption. The farmer moves carefully along the edge of an irrigation channel. Water glides through the narrow trench beside him. The surface sparkles beneath the sun. Small ripples catch the light and scatter it in every direction. He pauses and studies the flow. Everything appears healthy. The channel is clear. The crops are receiving water. The soil remains moist. These small observations bring a quiet sense of satisfaction. Many days are built from moments exactly like this. Simple tasks completed well. Simple problems avoided. Simple routines repeated. The farmer bends and adjusts a small section of earth along the channel. His hands are strong from years of labor. The soil crumbles easily beneath his fingers. The water changes direction slightly and continues its journey. The task is finished. He stands once more. A gentle breeze moves across the field. For a few moments it feels cool. Then it fades. The warmth of the day returns. Nearby, other workers continue their own routines. One carries a basket filled with tools. Another kneels beside young plants. Several others move slowly through neighboring fields. The sounds are quiet. Footsteps. Birds. Flowing water. The occasional murmur of conversation. Nothing disturbs the peaceful rhythm of the morning. Farther away, the Nile shines beneath the bright sky. Fishing boats drift steadily upon the water. Their reflections stretch across the surface like long shadows. The fishermen continue working patiently. One man sits near the edge of his boat repairing a section of net. The fibers pass through his fingers with practiced ease. He ties one knot. Then another. Then another. The task requires concentration. A damaged net may allow fish to escape. Every repair matters. The fisherman works without hurry. The river beside him seems to encourage patience. The current moves steadily. Never rushed. Never still. Always continuing. The fisherman finishes the repair and sets the net aside. He gazes across the water for a moment. The far shoreline appears hazy beneath the growing heat. Palm trees stand motionless in the distance. The scene feels timeless. As though it could belong to any century. Back in town, the market remains active. The morning's busiest hours are underway. People move between stalls and workshops. Voices mingle together. The sounds remain calm. No one rushes through the streets. The pace of life is steady and deliberate. A merchant arranges several clay jars outside his shop. The sunlight reflects softly from their smooth surfaces. Customers stop to examine them. Questions are asked. Prices are discussed. Conversations drift naturally from trade to family matters and back again. Business and daily life are closely connected here. One rarely exists without the other. Nearby, a basket maker sits beneath a shaded awning. Bundles of reeds rest beside him. His fingers move steadily through the weaving process. The reeds bend and cross one another. Slowly, a basket takes shape. The work requires patience. The basket maker has spent many years perfecting his craft. Each movement feels natural. The pattern emerges almost without thought. His hands remember what to do. The shade protects him from the strongest sunlight. Even so, the air grows warmer. A small bead of sweat forms along his forehead. He wipes it away and continues. Elsewhere in the town, household routines continue uninterrupted. A woman kneels beside a grinding stone. The repetitive motion fills the room. Stone against grain. Again. And again. And again. The sound is familiar. It has echoed through homes across Egypt for countless generations. The work is demanding. Arms grow tired. Shoulders become sore. Yet the flour produced by this effort will become bread. And bread remains at the center of daily life. Nearby, a young girl helps arrange clay bowls. She works carefully. The task is simple. But it matters. Every member of the household contributes in some way. Outside, sunlight spills across the courtyard. A cat stretches in a patch of warmth before settling down once more. The scene is peaceful. Ordinary. Comforting. As the morning continues, the heat gradually deepens. Workers notice it everywhere. The roads feel hotter beneath their sandals. The walls radiate warmth. The air becomes heavier. People begin seeking shade whenever possible. A brief pause beneath a tree. A moment beside a cool wall. A drink of water from a clay vessel. Small comforts become increasingly valuable. Near the river, several laborers unload supplies from a boat. Wooden crates are lifted carefully onto the shore. The work requires teamwork. One man passes a crate. Another receives it. The process repeats. Slowly but steadily. The laborers move with practiced efficiency. They understand that conserving energy is important. The day is far from over. There is no advantage in rushing. The Nile remains calm beside them. Its steady presence seems to soften every activity around it. The river is never far from daily life. Its influence reaches into every field, every household, every workshop, and every meal. Without it, little here would exist. As the sun approaches its highest point in the sky, the brightness becomes intense. The entire valley seems wrapped in golden light. Dust glows softly above the roads. Stone surfaces shine. Water sparkles. Even distant fields appear washed in sunlight. The farmer pauses once more. He stands beside his crops and surveys the field. The work completed during the morning has gone well. The irrigation channels function properly. The plants appear healthy. Nothing demands urgent attention. For a few moments he simply observes. The breeze returns briefly. Birds move across the sky overhead. The Nile glitters beyond the fields. The farmer feels tired already. Yet it is a familiar tiredness. A manageable tiredness. The kind earned through honest work. He drinks from a clay vessel he brought with him. The water tastes cool. Refreshing. Then he returns to his tasks. Throughout the settlement, similar scenes unfold. The baker tends his ovens. The potter shapes clay. The merchant greets customers. The basket maker continues weaving. The fisherman watches the river. The builder stacks bricks. The woman grinds grain. The child carries water. Countless small actions combine to create another ordinary day beside the Nile. None of these moments will be recorded on monuments. No royal scribe will carve them into stone. Yet together they form the true heartbeat of the ancient world. The sun climbs still higher. Midday draws near. The heat settles more firmly across the land. The roads grow quieter as people conserve energy. The fields shimmer beneath the sunlight. The river continues flowing with calm determination. And ancient Egypt moves gently forward through another peaceful day, guided by familiar routines, steady labor, and the endless presence of the Nile. Midday arrives over the Nile Valley. The sun now stands high above the land, pouring light across every field, rooftop, road, and riverbank. The shadows have become short and faint. The brightness seems to settle over everything like a warm blanket. The heat is at its strongest now. Workers feel it upon their skin. Animals seek shelter beneath trees and walls. Birds spend more time hidden among reeds and branches. Even the breeze seems slower during these hours. Yet life continues. It always does. The farmer stands beside a patch of grain swaying gently in the sunlight. The stalks move in small waves whenever the air stirs. The sight is calming. For a few moments he watches them. The field appears healthy. The water channels continue their steady work. The crops drink from the Nile's gift. Everything feels balanced. For now, at least, the day is proceeding as expected. The farmer wipes his forehead. Sweat disappears into the fabric of his simple clothing. His hands rest briefly at his sides. The pause lasts only a moment. Then he resumes his work. There is always something that needs attention. A section of soil to inspect. A channel to clear. A plant to examine. The work never truly ends. It simply changes shape from hour to hour. Across the fields, other farmers continue moving slowly beneath the intense sunlight. Their pace has become more measured now. Nobody wastes energy. Nobody rushes. The heat teaches patience. It teaches careful movement. The workers know their limits. They understand the importance of endurance. The day is long. Strength must be preserved. Nearby, water glides quietly through irrigation channels. The sound is soothing. Gentle. Constant. In a landscape where sunlight dominates the day, the sight and sound of flowing water bring comfort. Many workers pause occasionally just to watch it. The movement feels peaceful. Reliable. Like an old friend traveling beside them. Along the Nile itself, boats drift through the bright afternoon. The river reflects the sunlight so strongly that parts of its surface appear almost white. The fishermen squint against the brightness. Their boats move slowly across the water. The pace matches the day. Everything feels slower beneath the midday sun. One fisherman lowers his paddle and allows the current to carry him for a while. The river is calm. There is no need to hurry. He sits quietly and listens. The creak of wood. The splash of water. The distant calls of birds. The sounds blend together into something soft and restful. The fisherman closes his eyes briefly. The warmth of the sun settles across his shoulders. The rocking of the boat feels almost like a cradle. For a moment, the entire world seems to drift. Back in the town, many workshops continue operating despite the heat. The potter sits in the shade of his workspace. The thick mud brick walls help keep the interior cooler than the streets outside. He presses his hands against damp clay. The material feels cool beneath his fingers. The sensation is welcome. Outside, the air is hot and dry. Inside, the clay offers a small relief. The potter shapes another vessel. The wheel turns steadily. Round and round. The rhythm becomes almost hypnotic. Years of experience guide his movements. His hands know exactly how much pressure to apply. The vessel rises gradually from the spinning clay. Simple. Useful. Beautiful in its own quiet way. Nearby, finished jars stand in neat rows. They wait patiently for the next stage of their journey. Some will hold grain. Some will hold water. Others will store oil or dried foods. Each will become part of someone's daily life. Each will serve an ordinary purpose. The town itself has grown quieter during the hottest part of the day. The market remains open, but fewer people wander through it now. Many prefer to remain in the shade whenever possible. A merchant sits comfortably beneath an awning. A clay cup rests beside him. From time to time he takes a sip of water. Then he returns to watching the street. Customers still arrive. Just not as frequently. The merchant does not seem concerned. This is the natural rhythm of midday. Activity slows. The heat demands respect. Even conversations become softer. The air seems to encourage silence. A donkey stands beneath the shade of a wall. Its ears flick occasionally. Otherwise it remains perfectly still. Nearby, a cat sleeps in a patch of cool earth. The animal has found the most comfortable place available and seems determined not to leave it. The town feels suspended in a peaceful pause. Not asleep. Not inactive. Simply moving more slowly. Inside one home, a woman prepares food for the afternoon meal. The room smells faintly of bread and grain. Clay bowls sit upon a low surface. The preparation is simple. Much of life here is simple. Yet simplicity does not mean ease. Every loaf of bread represents hours of labor. Every meal depends upon countless small efforts. The woman understands this well. Her hands have spent years grinding grain, carrying water, and preparing food. The work has shaped her life. Just as field work has shaped the farmer. Just as fishing has shaped the fisherman. Each person carries responsibilities that support the community as a whole. Outside, the sunlight continues pouring across the land. The fields shimmer in the distance. The roads appear almost white beneath the brightness. Dust rises occasionally beneath passing footsteps. Then settles once more. The hours move slowly. A builder pauses beside a partially completed wall. He studies the structure carefully. The bricks appear solid. The lines remain straight. Progress has been made today. Not dramatic progress. Not the kind that transforms everything at once. But steady progress. The sort that accumulates day after day. The builder places one hand upon the wall. The brick feels warm from the sun. He nods quietly to himself. Then returns to work. In another part of the settlement, children rest in the shade. Some help with small chores. Others sit quietly beside family members. The heat has softened their energy as well. Even childhood slows beneath the midday sun. A young boy watches dust drip through a beam of sunlight entering a doorway. Tiny particles float and swirl. The sight holds his attention. For several moments, nothing else seems to matter. The world is full of small details when one has time to notice them. As the afternoon begins its slow approach, subtle changes emerge. The sunlight remains strong. The heat remains present. Yet somewhere deep within the day, a transition has begun. The sun has reached its highest point. Now, almost imperceptibly, it begins moving toward the west. No one stops to mark the moment. No announcement is made. The day simply continues. The Nile flows. The workers labor. The town breathes quietly beneath the sky. And little by little, the long afternoon begins to unfold across ancient Egypt, carrying with it the promise of cooler air, lengthening shadows, and another peaceful evening beside the river. The afternoon slowly fades. The long hours of labor drift quietly into memory as the sun lowers toward the western horizon. Across the Nile Valley, the golden light softens and spreads across the fields like a warm blanket. The farmers begin their final walk home. The fishermen guide their boats toward the shore. The merchants close their doors. The bakers tend the last loaves of the day. The potters set aside their tools. The builders place down their final bricks. One by one, the work of the day comes to an end. The Nile continues flowing beside them all. Patient. Steady. Unchanging. Its waters reflect the colors of evening as the sky turns from gold to amber, and from amber to deep shades of blue. A gentle breeze moves through the reeds. Palm trees sway softly. Birds settle into their resting places. The sounds of the day grow fewer. Quieter. Far away, the last voices drift through the town. Families gather for simple meals. Children grow sleepy. Oil lamps glow softly inside mud brick homes. The scent of bread lingers in the evening air. And above it all, the first stars begin to appear. One by one. Patiently. Silently. The farmer sits outside his home for a final moment before sleep. His hands are tired. His shoulders ache gently from the work of many days. Yet his heart feels calm. The crops are watered. The fields are cared for. The river still flows. For tonight, that is enough. He looks toward the Nile. Moonlight has begun touching the water. The silver reflection stretches across the dark surface and drifts slowly with the current. The river seems almost endless. As though it has always been there. As though it always will be. The town grows quieter. Doors close. Footsteps disappear. The market stands empty beneath the stars. The workshops rest in darkness. The roads become still. Only the soft sounds of night remain. A breeze through the reeds. The distant call of a bird. The gentle movement of water against the shore. Nothing more. The moon climbs higher. Its pale light settles across the sleeping land. Fields. Homes. Boats. Palm trees. All resting together beneath the vast sky. The Nile glides onward through the darkness. Past sleeping villages. Past silent fields. Past generations who came before and generations yet to come. The river asks for nothing. It simply flows. And somewhere beside its banks, an ordinary family sleeps peacefully within their mud brick home. The children dream. The parents rest. The long day is finished. Tomorrow will arrive in its own time. But tonight belongs to stillness. Tonight belongs to quiet water and cool air. Tonight belongs to stars reflected upon the Nile. The ancient world grows softer. More distant. The sounds fade. The lights fade. The roads disappear into darkness. The river becomes only a whisper. And beneath the endless Egyptian sky, beside the calm and patient Nile, the night settles gently over everything. Quietly. Slowly. Peacefully. Until there is only the river. The stars. And sleep.